There's another question about baptism. It's simply the question is, what are the steps towards baptism? If you remember back to Shavuot, we had a really special mikvah service here. A mikvah really is the root of what baptism, what turned into baptism. But at its foundation, baptism is truly working out the process of a mikvah, which is an immersion. It's a cleanliness issue. It's not a religious thing at all. It was very practical in meaning, and the priests and the individuals before going into the temple would bathe themselves ritually in some of the baths out front of the temple, and it is obviously way before the temple was built. But the concept is simply to clean oneself in water that's flowing. It's called mayim hayim, living water. It's moving water that takes the uncleanliness from the body and moves it and pushes it away, and it's gone forever. So again, the physical application, very practical. You're going in to serve in your priestly duties. You're going in to bring your sacrifice for many other reasons. You need to be presentable, and that was the practical way to do it. Spiritually, of course, we see the significance there. So, but actually, it's not something that you need to stress over. How do I? I was baptized in this name when I was so and so years old, or I grew up in this religion and they did this and they said I was baptized. And it's really, if you want to do the practical baptism, it's a mikvah. You get one person to stand up on the shoreline of some moving body of water, and you go in and you go under and you come out, and they'll tell you if you went under all the way, and if you didn't, then you do it again. If you did, then you come up and you're done. And the application of it physically is very easy, but your question needs to be, what do I need to do spiritually to be mikvahed more? And that's where your focus needs to be.
In saying that, there's a lot of people that come in this movement that definitely feel like they want to get re-mikvahed, because the concept of mikvah comes from, in the first century, it went from being mikvahed because Yahweh just said to do that for all these things and cleanliness, like he said, that we're finding out now, touching a dead body and so on and so forth. It just made sense, to being mikvahed into a yoke, is what it was called in the first century. Meaning a yoke was the teachings of your rabbi. And so you would be, when you became a Talmudim, disciples if you became a disciple of a teacher, of a rabbi, you would be mikvahed into the yoke or the teachings of that rabbi. That's why Paul says, I'm glad that I didn't baptize any of you, because you say I was baptized in the name of Silas. Why was that significant in the first century? Because if I said I'm baptized in the name of Silas, or Hillel, or whoever the rabbi was of that century, of that time period, then immediately everybody knows. It's like today we would say, I'm baptized as a Catholic, I'm baptized as Baptist, I'm baptized as Southern Baptist. And so you instantly can pigeonhole someone based on their theology, or what we would say denomination, but back then it was mikvah. So you were baptized into the following of that particular rabbi or that's teaching. So that's why Yeshua says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So when you're baptized in the name of Yeshua, it's far more than just being baptized, which, by the way, the Greek word there means to be pickled. It doesn't mean to dip. Okay, like kids the other day, maybe a week or two ago, in the middle of this cleanse, and so I'm eating cucumbers, like a half a cucumber a day, which I used to eat a half a cucumber every 4 years. It's a big deal. So someone gave us this jar of pickles, but see, my kids had never seen cucumbers. They didn't know they were cucumbers. Okay, so they said, "What is that?" I said, "They're pickles," and they're like, "No, they're not. That's cucumbers." And I'm like, well, no, cucumbers are pickles. If you leave a cucumber in the pickle juice long enough, it gets baptized. It was a fantastic teaching opportunity. Because that's the problem today, is everyone wants to try out God. So everyone's a cucumber. They take themselves, they dip themselves in the pickle juice, and they go, why do I taste like a weird cucumber? It doesn't taste like a pickle. But if you leave it in there long enough, it turns into something completely different that's almost totally not recognizable. You follow me? From the inside out, it changes. And so that's the concept of mikvah, is we need to be mikvahed into the teachings of our rabbi. So a lot of people, when they come to this movement, they want to get rebaptized. It's natural, because their understanding of the rabbi Jesus, the Greek Jesus, is far different than the rabbi Yeshua. And they want to be remikvahed into his teaching. Not that it's a different person, you understand, but it means something to them, and it's important to know that. So that yoke, which goes over the oxen, is the instructions of the driver of the oxen. And so he says, hey, take on my yoke. The tradition of the elders is going to run you into a ditch, but my yoke is light, and it didn't say you're free. No. It's still a yoke. It's still an instruction. But that instruction is light. You won't even feel it around your neck, because it's spiritual. When you have the yoke of men, you'll always know it, because it's physical. It's heavy. And it begins to be incredibly difficult.
So, Jim, when you're saying that when we get baptized, we should stay in the water for several hours.
Yes. Bring a snorkel.
Until we start to be pickled.
Yeah, that's called a jacuzzi.
And start looking like it, too, you know.
That's a hot tub, Bob.
Hot tub, right?
See, it's true. You stay in the hot tub long enough, you come out and you look like a prune.
I'd like to say something, just what Jim said, adding on to what Jim said. Being baptized into the rabbi's teaching is still done today. If you've ever been in New York, lived in New York, or visited New York at the right time, you'll see that they have mobile mikvahs that they drive around. And if you want to demonstrate to the public your dedication to a certain rabbi and the teachings that he represents, you can be baptized right there on the street. So they still do that today. So that's a very valid concept.